Hello everyone, welcome to Career Chronicles. Today we have Anshuman who's working in Goldman Sachs as a senior analyst. So I'm highly excited to know about his journey, some tips and strategies in order to get into Goldman Sachs on the other hand. Before that, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been going good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Cool. So I hope we can start up with an introduction from your side.
All right. So I've been working in Goldman for the past 2 years. I joined straight out of college. I graduated from VIT Vellore with a bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering, and I interned in Goldman for 6 months before I joined as a full time. And after I joined, I've been working in the global markets division in the operations subdivision for the fixed income operations. We cover all the uh, as in not all the but as in me my day-to-day work involves, because I'm in operations, my day-to-day work involves talking to clients, talking to traders, and talking to sales to look after certain transactions they do in a day. But yeah, that should sum it up.
Got it. So I was curious to know about what motivated you to get into this part of analyst. So was it a planned part or like normally you got in, or you did some groundwork in order to get in? What was that?
Funny, that's a funny question. I never actually I never knew what operations is, because of course I did my bachelor's in engineering, right?
Yeah.
And I had a couple of other offers when I thought of taking off of Goldman, and well, I didn't know. It was kind of a blank. I had to start on a blank slate, and it's actually like painting on a canvas, I would say. It's been going great so far. I didn't know, and about motivation part, I never wanted to get into the tech sector,
Mm-hmm.
but being here has been very challenging. At the same time, it's been very rewarding, right? And
Mm-hmm.
for the past 20 years, I know that I have a knack for finance. After only I realized after joining this side,
Okay.
and yeah, I think it's been a good 2 years.
That's great. Cool. So what is the main role and responsibility of a senior analyst would be in a typical day? So what you do actually, what kind of stuff you do in order to take it to the manner, yeah.
So analyst is a very broad position in Goldman. So everyone who's a fresher or
Mm-hmm.
who's a year with 1 years of experience or something, they are categorized as analysts.
Mm-hmm.
So given it's a very big corporate, you have multiple teams working in the firm, right? And everyone who's a fresher of campus or with the minimum work ex, they join as an analyst. So because as of as an on-campus hire, as a campus hire, I joined as an analyst, and day-to-day work differs depends upon depending upon what team is the analyst from. So for me, because I'm from operations, I usually would talk talk to clients, talk to traders, talk to sales, talk to few of the internal teams globally to confirm certain transactions, or because I'm a part of something called a global markets division, that's the trading side of Goldman Sachs.
Mm-hmm.
And my day-to-day work revolves around confirming trades, making sure the trade settlements are going through, processing the transactions, and all these things. But at the same time, someone from engineering, they will also be categorized as analysts,
Mm-hmm.
but given that they are in the engineering, their work will be completely different. Someone who is in trading, they will also be an analyst because they are a first year, okay, but their work will be different because they are in completely a different division. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, analyst is a position, that's just a common way we refer to the the freshers internally.
Mm-hmm.
And a senior analyst is someone who's just one level ahead of an analyst. So
Mm-hmm.
I got a promotion, I think, at the start of this year. So that my roles and responsibilities is mainly because I'm still in the phase of my learning, right? And I work with very senior members who have been working in the firm for like last 10, 12, 16 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And they are of course the ones who manage the teams, right? Who manage all our functions. But then someone needs to do the functions, right? And that's where analysts and associates come in. They try to, uh, kind of run the projects. They try to do the amount of work that needs to be done before, let's say, we start a project, right? So of course it's up to manager. The manager, let's say, we are working on a project or we are supposed to work on a project, so the groundwork has to be done by the analysts and associates.
Mm-hmm.
All the research that goes into starting a project,
Okay.
those are. And for me, because I'm from a STEM background, I also help my team with the automations. uh, that helps a lot, and that comes in handy. The few skills that I've learned in, like, such as data analytics and automation using a few applications, that comes in very handy in my day-to-day work.
Cool. That's great. So, yeah. So, what are the kind of tools and technologies that you use as a senior analyst? Since you are in the part of operations and stuff,
Yeah.
what are the tools that are mainly used and the technologies as well? The latest technologies, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, operations, you don't see actually, we don't actually go into the tech side of it
Mm-hmm.
because we are not developing products, right? That
Oh,
would,
okay.
that would be a part of a developer's work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what we use is, of course, one application. We use anything that comes under data analytics and stuff. So we use a tool called Alteryx. We use a tool called Rapid Miner. We use Tableau. These are mainly for our automations, right? Process improvement, intelligent automation, all those things. But then that's 20 to 30% of my day or
Okay.
of my work. But the rest 70% still revolves around talking to multiple internal teams, settling transactions. It's something that very, kind of operations is a very domain specific role. So
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in finance, the operations in finance will be very different from operations, let's say, someone who is in a so tech company or something. So operations basically means handling a day-to-day transaction. That's all. What kind of, it can be any kind of transactions, but it differs from all the, like, it's not a very there is a, you cannot generalize that all the operations are like everyone who's in operations do the same kind of work. So it differs from domain to domain.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, my next question would be like, how do you stay updated in the world full of new trends and technologies in your field, basically? As an analyst, how do you stay updated? Yeah.
The best way is to, of course, read news. I, yeah, it is. Don't if you don't trust me, reading news is the best way to get stay updated.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we have. So regarding how I stay updated, of course, the basic thing that I do is read news.
Uh-huh.
I I read news, and I want to have a career in finance.
Mm-hmm.
So I read mostly finance related news.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of technology, of course, recently the trend is AI. So I try to read up now. Bloomberg has its Bloomberg GPT, so it's kind of chat GPT, but mainly for financial data and financial analysis. And Morgan Stanley also has some kind of AI chatbot, not chatbot, AI to help with investments after the launch of ChatGPT. So, yeah, I mean, I prefer news, and we do discuss it. We have because it's a global firm, right? And we have town halls with multiple senior leaders that keeps happening every week, every now and then, and I try to attend as many of them as I can, regardless if, let's say, I'm in global markets, and if the town hall is happening for the investment banking division, I would try to attend that. Or else if it's an engineering MD who's talking about some new developments that's happening in the current market, I would also try to read up on that. And of course, on an usual, I try to kind of do some kind of research on my end if I'm interested in something. So I like studying about quantum mechanics, right? And I try to study up as much as I can on that. So articles, papers, if I have the time, of course, because work is a bit hectic. So.
Got it. Cool. Like, as a senior analyst, do you have any kind of suggestion for the course and certification for people who are getting new? Like, do you suggest any course or certification in order to become an analyst? So these are the things that you can do so that it'll give you an enhancement to your skills or something. So on that part.
Again, because I said right, analyst is a very broad position. Depends which in division are you aiming to, like which financial, so sorry, which domain are you aiming to? If you're trying to go to tech, of course, I'm not the correct person to talk about that because I am not from tech. But if you want to get into finance, let's say, the core finance side, then having a STEM background helps
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of it's crunching numbers, right? And
Okay.
most of the traders that I talk on daily basis are mainly STEM grads or become grads with a major in with an economics honors or something. So that kind of thing. In terms of certification, additional than a core education, of course, you have the FRM, FRA, CA, CFA,
Mm-hmm.
all the certification. Of course, they take a bit of time,
Mm-hmm.
but they are kind of they set the industry standards is what I say, what I see. So let's say you want to be a portfolio manager, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
right? And getting, of course, same background is helpful because, but at the same time, you also need to know what the securities market is, how a market is going to move, or how a market reacts when something happens, and that comes with experience, of course. But to get to the beginners part, you need to have some kind of background because let's say I came from engineering. I didn't have any clue when I joined operations in Goldman, right? Now, after working after 2 years, after talking to several people, and now I'm trying to study up as many as I'm trying to do a CFA. That's also on my radar because it will take some time, but it's okay. It's worth it, is what I mean. So you have all these additional certifications. It's mainly for someone who gets into who wants to go into core finance, right? Without having an MBA, let's say, because
Okay.
MBA is one way to get into finance.
Exactly.
And without having an MBA, you have all these options of CA, CFA, FRM, FRA. They introduce you to the beginners level of the finance world is all I know.
That's great. Okay, so my final question maybe. So, what I mean, can a fresher get into the analyst part? As a fresher, can I get into the analyst part? If so, what are the advice you'd give to that people in order to get in?
Uh, Again, like you keep because you keep referring to analysts, that is what like that becomes an issue, right? Because depending upon what domain you want to go into, you need to have certain experience. But let's say I'm in operations, I
Hmm.
didn't have any experience when I got hired from VIT. You are from VIT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Goldman comes to VIT for the placement season, and the competition is very high because, of course, you would have seen the numbers yourself. But it feels, I mean, you can apply off campus,
Hmm.
but then let's say you want to go to tech, you need to have certain background in the same role as you're trying to apply to. In operations, no one really expects the fresher to have any kind of work ex because it's very domain specific. There is very little knowledge out there which you can learn. The only way is to learning on the job is what we usually like we've been doing since the last 2 years. Everyone who comes in as a fresher has no idea what operations is, but in the following 1 year and they are learning and they know what operations is, then they feel comfortable to talk about it in the on the outside. uh, in terms of advice, getting into Goldman is not tough,
Okay.
but because it's hectic. Once you come in, the competition is very very high because you're walking. I'm not going to kid. You're actually walking among some of the world's talented people. So the competition inside is very very high.
Okay.
So, but that part apart, it's a very great place to work.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, you gave a precise answer for everything and you made it very clear, like all the things that I asked you. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
The pleasure is all mine.
Cool.
Thank you. Bye.